I'm so sorry that it's taken me so long to get back to you, but I was quite hurriedly and unexpectedly whisked off on a holiday so far off the grid that I found it very difficult to locate viable communication. However, while I was gone, I had ample opportunity to consider your suggestion that I revise the script to better adapt it to your new Sci-Fu genre. Your idea of a film based upon scientific futuring, rather than on science fiction and science fantasy, I thought was actually quite brilliant. As a result, I came up with 3 modes of communication. Cellular phones, like we're using now, an ethereal cellular mode, achieved by the waving of a hand, and an interactive holographic transmission after Michael has returned from the other side of the universe. I also like the idea of an organized religious leadership declining in the face of a worldwide grassroots spiritual movement, headed by the time's most preeminent physicist, a popular scientific layperson, a Dominie-in-Grey, who, by happenstance or design, just happens to be the protagonist Michael's wife. Lastly, I think I may have resolved the question as to how the next stage of human evolution, the collective human awakening from mental adolescence to maturity, can plausibly proceed. Yes. Yes. And yes. I do believe that with the revisions we've already made, plus these that we've just discussed, that the screenplay is definitely ready for film production.
Michael, is that real?
It's good to see you again, Carol. After all, it's 25 years ago when I last appeared. I waited until the very last minute. Why didn't you come?
You know why, Michael? I needed time to reflect. Having become here through your action could taint our thought.
I was premature to think I had persuaded you otherwise, as regards your physics and religious Dominie-in-Grey, guardian of Imperax souls mumbo-jumbo. Well, I'm back to put things right. There's still time.
Time?
Another chance. For you, for me, for our son. Surely you knew I'd come back.
Actually, I didn't. Actually, I had come to hope you wouldn't come back. Was it worth it? The 3 of us have given up so much.
It was more than worth it, Carol. Much, much more.
You've been branded a traitor for your disappearances, as if it wasn't enough the first time during the Battle of Tyre.
And soon there'll be even more questions and conjecturing. It's inevitable. I had no choice but to leave the first time. And I can once again only remain a short while.
Still, you left twice.
I imagine it hasn't been easy for either you or our son. Since my sudden first departure obviously raised issues the authorities couldn't ignore.
And they didn't, Michael. They chose to make an example of you and of me and of our son by implication.
The first time I reappeared, if you can recall, my dear, I didn't plan for either of you to be left behind. My return this time gives us one last chance to be together again as a family.
So you say, but really, does it truly give us that chance? How can any of us pick up where we left off? 25 years ago, our son had just been conceived and was not even born yet.
At least we can try our best to continue where we left off, can't we?
Michael, our son has grown up in this world. Since you left, he has come to hate you.
Meaning, I suppose, you never bothered to tell him that I'd be back.
How could I know you'd return? Especially since I came to hope otherwise.
Oh, Carol, what needless separation and suffering your hesitation has caused, all because of your pseudo-scientific religious dogma.
It has been 25 years, Michael. Need I repeat? 25 years.
Did you even bother to tell him that you, pregnant with him, were supposed to travel with me after my first reappearance?
So you could bring us where, Michael? To somewhere on the other side of the universe? Where aliens were waiting to take over our body.
It's not like that, Carol. As I tried so hard to convince you back then, and I thought I had. There are fabulous new worlds there, just waiting to be explored.
New worlds? But at what cost, Michael? Risking our very soul?
I'm the same Michael who left 25 years ago, Carol. The same. Look at me. Here to finish what was started, you having once given up the dream due to your simplistic personal fear and your pseudo-religious biases.
I realize.
If you're still unable to act, our son at least is old enough now to make his own decision. I can only hope there's enough of me in him that he'll jump at this opportunity.
Michael, really? How could you?
I'll have him with me, despite the web of religious poppycock that you've weaved to hold him fast in this mundane world. A world in which I, like you, and now Britt, have become prisoners. Our son deserves more. He deserves his own choice.
No!
Sir, Lieutenant Hoffman here.
Captain Major Britt Mylo here.
Imperax Distant Sector Security has just reported the appearance of an unidentified spaceship. It is in orbit round planet Dyla D.
That was the location of my father's spaceship. Both times it disappeared.
That sector and location have been under surveillance ever since.
His disappearance at the Battle of Tylo. Yes, I know.
Sir, Lieutenant Hoffman with an update from Imperax Distant Sector Security. They have just identified the ship as the Astership Twilon.
That's my father's ship.
Hello, Britta. What I most fear is now happening.
Michael back? You mean?
Yes, Mike is back. And Britta, he hasn't aged a bit.
Men are made of different stuff than we women. They are more willing to charge into the great unknown.
I've wondered over the years if I should have gone with him the first time. pretend that I was with breed. But in the end, my responsibility as a future mother and Dominie-in-Grey pastor, physicist, cosmologist, call it whatever you like, persuaded me otherwise.
Any chance you suddenly decided to follow him this time?
While he hasn't aged, I become visibly older in appearance. I've become a mature woman who fears that whatever I do, there can be no assured positive outcome. I stand to lose my son, or worse, his soul. Michael has already lost his to the other side of the universe, and now he's come for our son, Brit.
What if you stayed and let Brit decide for himself? Or do you think you could get Brit to stay with you? Perhaps Michael would get the message.
Understand, please, Peter, that this is about much more than Michael, Brit, or me. It's about all of humanity's souls, including yours. It's about the future of the Imperax. I foresaw this. The other side of the universe now knows we exist and where we are. It's not that we can be reached, and will surely try to spread its contamination.
And
I'm totally unable to stop it from happening. With Michael back, no matter what I do, my position as Dominie-in-Grey and the future of humankind is forever compromised.
so, you don't possess a solution now? Will you ever be able to come up with one?
I've consulted the ancient and modern prophecies. I've reread the religious books and consulted oracles. In desperation, I've turned to reading tea leaves, cards, candles, even the flight of birds. Peter, I've even tried dark spells and incantations. I've plotted the course of the stars. I've thought it through from every angle. The only power I've left is to let go of Michael and let Brit decide for himself.
And how will you explain your son's desertion? His leaving will surely add to the scandal. And you barely survived the last go-round, even with Brit at your side.
There is still one other possibility, multiverse theory. It predicts the possibility of passage to other universes, but only after death. In truth, I began thinking about death.
Michael's or Brit?
Neither would likely stop those on the other side of the universe from coming. In fact, either of their deaths would likely just turn up the timetable. The others would come running from their side to find out what happened here.
Then, what to do?
At this point, I must do what I must, knowing that if Brit leaves, life for me here would become quite impossible.
Imperax Command Central has reported that what looks like your father's Astership has reappeared again next to Dyla D.
I'm en route to rendezvous with it, and my father even now.
You are? I know that Command Central can leak like a Bosovian sieve, but how is it that I just received notice, while you're already on your way to visit your father?
I was notified by Imperax Distant Sector Security as soon as the Astership Twilon made its latest appearance. Then my father appeared to me via what he called interactive holographic projection.
Interactive holographic projection? Is that really possible? I've always thought it the stuff of science fiction or fantasy.
Oh, it exists all right, though I've no idea how it works. Go figure.
Why didn't you just meet via this interactive holographic projection?
Frankly, I don't know why. His projection ended abruptly and was disconcertingly brief.
Has he contacted your mother, do you think? For that matter, have you talked about any of this with her?
You know she despises him, Kyle. She, like everyone else, knows about Imperax Command's official report as to how he deserted during a crucial moment in the Battle of Tyrog Tile, which caused the Imperax to very nearly lose the war.
Old news.
And never a satisfactory explanation either from him or his crew when his Astership returned 1 year after disappearing.
More old news.
And that time saw him return to apparently sire me.
You never mentioned that before. However, the dates do line up. It was pretty much assumed by one and all that the Tyrogs dismantled the spacecraft to learn everything they could about our Asterships.
And yet, if the Tyrogs had benefited, how come they lost the war? At war's end, none of their captured ships displayed any evidence of Astership technology.
Assumed due to the Tyrogs having secretly destroyed all records of it ever happening.
Which our fervent post-war investigations proved entirely untrue.
On the other hand, if the Tyrogs didn't do the deed, who did? What phenomenon could possibly account for the twice disappearance of an entire Astership and crew?
A serendipitous crack in the space-time continuum? An unexplained cosmic event? Perhaps a wandering black hole passing just long enough to swallow the Astership and later spit it back right out into the same place where it disappeared? No, I don't think so.
Then there's the question of the crew's involvement, or not. No indication when it first reappeared, even after extensive interrogations, that any of them even tried to stop your father. Either time, for that matter.
Well, certainly some officers, if concerned that my father's actions were irrational or against Imperax Command's orders, should have objected.
So many unresolved mysteries.
So many. And now is the perfect time for answers. Carol, dear Carol, what have you done? Well, would you look at that? I've never seen a vintage spacecraft that pristine. This behemoth looks as if it had just come out of the Imperax dry docks.
Astership Twilon had just been commissioned before the Battle of Tyrog Tile.
Well, has Command Central sent out any Imperax investigative teams yet?
Yes, but I doubt they're anywhere near you yet.
Well, Let's see if I can catch someone's attention on board the Twilon. Astership Twilon. This is Captain Major Britt Mylo in Hyper Warcraft 24, requesting permission to dock and to come aboard. This is Hyper Warcraft 24, requesting permission
This is
to...
Astership Twilon. We're experiencing communications problems caused by Dylon D's magnetic field. Please switch your craft to automatic so that we can lock on and bring you aboard.
Will comply. Hyper Warcraft 24, now on automatic. We're going on a journey, you and I.
A journey? Where?
Far beyond our galaxy, to the other end of the universe. You think that impossible? Unbelievable even.
To begin with, there's no known power source strong enough. If that's even possible, by the time we reach there, we'd be millions of years old.
And yet, I've already made the trip. Twice. In this ship.
Sure enough, Dad. Across the entire universe. Even our latest spaceship couldn't manage such a distance.
Who said anything about employing any known-to-you power source? But we're not going to be using any to travel to the other side of the universe. We'll be taking the Zizan Expressway.
I haven't the foggiest idea what you're talking about. Picture a grain of dust floating in a bowl of water above a plugged drain. Imagine the plug being suddenly removed. The Astership Twilon is like that dust mote, and space-time the water. Where we're going is on the other side of that drain. You're serious?
There are several such drains located in space-time. Most are two-way, but they tend to fluctuate in location and length of time, anchoring temporarily at one, then another place. It's merely a case of locating the correct one and taking advantage at the right moment. In my case, 26 years ago, one serendipitously appeared and dragged my ship and crew through to the other side of the universe. It took a year for another to appear, to bring me back, and 25 more years for this one to appear.
So it's not propulsion power, but something else entirely. Theoretically, any person in a spacesuit, located correctly at the right space-time point, could take advantage of the Zizan Expressway. This is pure craziness.
It seemed crazy to me, too, especially our first trip through. I didn't know what was happening until after we reached the other side. When we return to the other side this time, they'll make you a true believer, like they did me and the crew.
Wait, who are they?
Non-corporeal life forms who've been around longer than even they can remember. Like gods? That's as good a definition as any. They have so much to share, and they're eager to share it with us.
All of which sounds too good to be true. What do they want in return?
Being incorporeal, they longed for when they had flesh and blood, could experience feelings. They lost their hearing, sight, smell, taste, touch, and the pleasures of procreation in return for omniscience and immortality.
So they don't exist in a physical world as we know it.
Until we appeared unexpectedly in their region of space, completely by chance, they saw no solution for ever amending their advanced evolution. Imagine being stuck forever ruminating and decrying the impossibility of turning back the clock.
So, what is it they want from us?
Wait, they want to experience our feelings? They see you, the crew, Mom, and me as vessels. In other words, they want our bodies. And what exactly do they offer in return? Fabulous cities and planets. They've progressed far beyond using them. They're just waiting to be re-inhabited. And fabulous knowledge like how to end wars, eliminate disease, the ability to impede aging, to extend our human lifetimes to near eternity. And wealth, fabulous wealth, and fabulous power, the like of which you can't begin to imagine.
Adventures beyond anything ever dreamed? Yes, that's what's being offered to you right now, if you'll only come with me. It's the reason I returned. For you. Wait, aren't they actually parasites who will occupy me and the rest of humanity as hosts?
No. You can't understand until you go there. They're not parasites. They're ethereal beings, partners, willing to give infinitely more than imaginable. They're more like, well, riders, along for the journey, our life journeys, experiencing our experiences. Mother says it's the sum total of our experiences that make up our souls, which, in the end, determine our individual and collective futures, as well as the direction of human evolution. Your mother is a victim of the official psycho-socio-religious claptrap to which she's been exposed from very early age. In her role as Dominie-in-Grey, she can't see.
But by taking on these riders, aren't we at least commingling souls? Giving them access to, maybe even control over our futures? Our evolution? Won't they eventually ride, populate, possibly even take over everyone on this side of the universe?
But you have it all wrong, son, as did your mother. I left a world steeped in war, its inhabitants living in constant fear, controlled by a few for their own personal benefit.
All I see is a father who left his own kind without a thought for his family, ready to share, perhaps even give away or even lose his soul.
I want nothing to do with anything that would allow me, like you, to rationalize betraying my family, my comrades in arms, my world, my species, like you betrayed all of us by leaving during the Battle of Tyrog Tile. A moment, Britt, if you please. Let me re-emphasize. I had nothing to do with my first disappearance. We did everything we could, with the assistance of them on the other side, to communicate with here. But the distance is simply too great. Instead, we worked to plot the next plug pulling that would bring us back here physically.
And you finally did it after your first disappearance, only to leave again, leaving Mother pregnant with me.
You left Mother and me to face insurmountable problems. Why have you returned from the other side of the universe this time? Why couldn't you have just stayed there? I spent 25 years recomputing the coordinates to come back here again, this time for my son and his mother, who I hoped had changed her mind.
Does that, having conceived me before returning to the other side again, make me somehow already partially infected? And what of Mother?
But don't you see? That's why you're so special and need to come back with me. You're already half my and their son. My rider was within me when you were conceived, yes, but merely to experience your birth. And yes, I'll admit that some of my writer was transferred to you in the process.
So now you're proposing that the 6, or however the number of us, return to the other side of the universe to live happily ever after, humans and riders. All of this at the price of what sounds remarkably like, as Mother would likely say, handing over our mortal souls to the devil.
You, in fact, your experiences over the past 25 years have made your rider your own. You'll be the first generation born to them by natural reproduction. Imperax forbid! Mother was right to question. You would be a fool to not return with me to the other side of the universe, to your own future, to your own future kind. What is there for you here in this world? Here, you are the son of a disgraced Imperax commander, living in a world of petty hates, petty killings, petty technologies, petty religious beliefs, denied the ability to take the next step in evolution from psychological and spiritual adolescence into an omniscient and immortal adulthood. Unlike you, I have friends here. My mother's here. I have a career here that you are not of this world, Britt. Your mother knew this and in the end accepted that you would leave with me, which is why she chose.
What do you mean? What did she choose?
Once again, confused as to which way to go, what to believe, she took her own way out. And were you to stay, your friends would soon enough discover her unexplained death, and eventually notice that you're different from them, if they don't suspect it already.
But I'm not different. You've risen to the rank of a captain major in the Imperax military corps, in spite of your father being the most infamous traitor in Imperax history. Yes, but Do you actually think any normal son of Michael Mylo could have climbed so high, so fast, without a rider? For God's sake, go wherever you want, do whatever you wish, but leave me and my life here as you found it. Please.
I'm sorry, Britt. Truly I am. But you cannot stay here. You're already part and parcel with them, Britt. What if I did leave you here?
In time, your friends would notice how unusually lucky you seem. Eventually, they would discover that, unlike them, you don't grow older as fast.
And what of your growing rider knowledge? You'll quickly become bored with everything. Come. You must come with me. Complete the process. Meet the other riders. Explain to them.
Commander Mylo, this is the ship's auto-alert computer. 3 Imperax security ships have hailed and are approaching.
Oh, sorry, Father. Did I fall asleep?
Indeed, you did.
How could I, given all that's happening?
How much time before?
It won't be long. While I slept, I had the most unusual dream. Did you know? I was in wordless communication with a host of incorporeal beings. I sent out a thought question. Now that our two kinds are slowly enjoining, what is our ultimate destiny? An excellent question, to which one or two replied,
Quote, ask your mother. She's the greatest physicist of all time and the Dominie-in-Grey. Your mother's become a goddess in her own right.
If only she were here. I'm sure she wouldn't hesitate to answer, if she could, and that it would be a positive, fortuitous one. I miss her. Tremendously, which is only natural. She was and will always be your human mother. However, as the years pass, you'll find that you'll miss her less and less, as you continue to come into your new and fuller self, and learn to rely more on your own discovered answers. And what of the 3 Imperax security ships? Are they still out there?
Oh, indeed they are. And periodically knocking on our door, huffing and puffing in their insistence to get themselves in or get us out.
Did it ever occur to you that they might grow impatient and try to force their way in? While this Astership may look archaic after so much back and forth travel, we are safe and secure. Until the moment comes for our departure, and we find ourselves on the other side of the universe.
How has it turned out? Producer, director, lead actor? Were you and your co-star, Sakura Kai, able to bring it all together? Do the characters accept that once they become more aware that they're destined to share more than just their souls? Even lose them completely to something greater, potentially entirely alien? And in the end, even Carol's outcome is left to question. Being the greatest physicist of her time, and doing such pioneering work in multi-universe theory, I suppose it's not too difficult to imagine an entirely different universe without extracorporeal beings or biters. A refuge should things turn as dark for humanity as Carol was so worried? Absolutely. And I envision the ending of the film being a final shot of the Astership Twilon hovering in the space above the planet Dyla D, suddenly disappearing and leaving what's happening on this side of the universe to the imagination of the viewers.
Commander Mylo, sir, this is the ship's autopilot. We have reached your pre-programmed position on the Zizan freeway and are initiating engagement.